That's a vision what we should have. And when we all work on this vision to cool the planet, then we can achieve it as a humankind. And it is very serious. You see here, the last 20 years increasing the world temperature. We are on a curve that we will have 2 degrees global warming in 5 years and 3 degrees in 2050. It is very dangerous when we go on what we did in the last 100 years as humankind. And what means 3 degrees global warming? UN Secretary Antonio Guterres warns us, humankind. He told us we are on the pathway to the climate hell. And he has right. Climate hell is in 2050 when we do not change our activities on the world. You see deadly heat waves, hunger, storms, droughts, sea level rise. Shanghai will partly vanish in 2050. That's what we are standing here. It is very serious, and the necessity to handle, to act very sharp is really here. And what can we do? First, we must learn what's the reason behind that. It is the increasing of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The safe human border is 350 parts per million carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We exceeded this border in 1990. Today we stay at 430, much too high. And therefore, the strategy must be bring the carbon dioxide concentration down under 350 parts per million. We humankind could raise the concentration. We should be able to bring them down. How do we have to do it? The red line is the emission what we had in the world with the humankind. The red area. And that shows the first pillar for this strategy. Cancel all emissions, not only reduce emissions. Stop it completely within 20 or 30 years. How to cancel it? Main emission system is burning oil, gas, coal. Go to 100% renewables, you cut 60% of all emissions of the world. But it's not enough. We need a circular, emission-free economy in our material system. And we need an emission-free agriculture as well. That's stopping all emissions. But that's not enough. We have to take out the carbon from the atmosphere that the humankind emitted. That's the green area. How to do that? We should use the plants on the planet. They collect the carbon dioxide when they grow. Trees, plants, bamboo, and plenty others. But on land, we have not the area to take out the carbon that in that amount what we have to take out. We must remove 1,700 gigatons carbon dioxide within 30 years. We must go to the sea. There is an ability for the carbon sinks what we need. In zero emission systems, we are on a good pathway. That's the increasing of solar industry today. Thanks to China, your industry, half of the solar is invested in China. And 90% of the industry products comes from China. Very great. And this shows, and you could look how fast it can grow. It is possible on an industry way to go this way. But pay attention, this increasing rate is not yet fast enough to get 100% renewables by 2050. We must accelerate it and add wind power, solar power to bioenergy, sustainable bioenergy, geothermal, wave energy, ocean energy is very important to include into the energy system. But how to take out the carbon from the atmosphere? Forestry, yes. Regenerative agriculture, yes. Very important. Go to the high sea, create huge algae farms on a controlled way, not on a polluting way. That's important, controlling it. And we have areas in the ocean where the algae farms grow on a nature way. Sargasso Sea near USA. That's the area where the most highest biodiversity in the sea is. With the most whales, dolphins, turtles, fishes and others. We can create biodiversity with creating a lot of carbon sinks, what we need, both together. The seeded sargassum can grow some sorts with doubling the volume even in 2 days. You can think in exponential growth rates. Doubling every week. What is the amount at the end of 1 year? You can nearly not expect that. That's huge. And that's a possibility why we can use sargassum as a medium to come to this huge amount of carbon sinks. We have to go to the high seas, to the tropical regions in the oceans, make controlled farms of this sargassum and other seaweeds. Take the balloons and bring them down. But no one will earn money with that, and therefore this alone is not enough. We can and we must use the sargassum and the seaweed and others as a new industry. You can create fertilizers to make a regenerative agriculture. We can create airplane fuel to replace the oil-based fuel, polluting fuel, by a clean fuel from sargassum. You can make bioplastic to replace completely the plastic system in the world that pollutes the oceans. By bioplastic from algae. You can make building materials, replace steel concrete by algae. You can create bionaphtha and biochar that stores carbon in the soil and helps the agriculture better to increase. Make more food, and you can create food with the sargassum, with plenty new fishes, and with the sargassum itself when you convert it. Today the sargassum grows uncontrolled. For example, mostly in the Chinese Sea. It is high polluted, and therefore the sargassum has a lot of fertilizer to grow very fast. It is polluting the harbors, the strands, tourism are infected. We learn already to take it out from the sea, but we should do a new product with them to replace oil and gas products and coal products. That's possible. And we can create new industries in 10 years, so fast like we did in solar industry. And then we have the products, we have clean ocean, and we can replace all these things. And the beginning is already here. That's not Sargasso, but it is another Algier farm here in Netherlands and wind power park together with a seaweed ocean farming. The combination of 100% renewables and new materials, Algier, is possible. What do we have to do? We must organize on a political level, international as well as local level. New legislation, that's important. The solar industry did not come by itself into the world. I created a law in Germany in 2000 to stimulate solar and wind power. And that was the basics that they could grow. We need the same for increasing farming in oceans and help the industry to develop. We need a 100% renewable system, an emission-free circular economy. Sargassum can help, and seaweed, and in agriculture and the carbon things. Very important are the universities. Your young leaders and scientists help. We must create 1,000 details in this area. The schools, the medias, and we must create a new business. Startups, financing, industry. And then we switch the fossil business that pollutes the planet, heats up the planet, creates wars over oil and everything. And then we have a clean planet, a planet that even should be cooled down when we accelerate and when we come down under 350 parts per million. This should be our target. Let's cooperate on a political and scientific level all over the world, and then we have a chance to do it together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.